Hey, greetings! Welcome back to Sean's Irish Whiskey Shelf. Coming at you from the heart of the United States out here in the Midwest, where, man, it has been just toasty warm out here this week. I don't even know if it could get any warmer. It probably can, but I don't want to find out. So, before we get started today, I want to give a shout out to a vendor that I've been using, and I intend to use a lot more. If you're having trouble finding whiskey at your local liquor store or supermarket, wherever you buy whiskey, you should look for Hard to Find Whiskey on the internet, htfw.com. These folks are amazing. Some of what's on the shelves back here I got from Hard to Find Whiskey. I've got a shipment coming tomorrow of 2 very special bottles. We'll talk about those next week, perhaps. Their customer service is second to none. Their shipping, oh my goodness, their shipping is lightning fast. It has never taken more than a week for anything I've ordered from them to show up on my doorstep. So I can't help but sing their praises. And I have to tell you folks about it too. So give them a look, check them out, htfw.com. If you do try them, I'm sure you will be just as pleased as I have been. And I want to give them a huge thank you for all of the help that they've given me up to this point. And I'm looking forward to a great relationship with them going forward. So, what I have this evening are 3 bottles of whiskey from the Glendalough Distillery. Now, on the labels, you have St. Kevin. St. Kevin lived out there in the 6th century, and Glendalough stands for Valley of Two Lakes. This particular distillery, located in County Wicklow, the east coast of Ireland, they're not a very big distillery. In fact, these 3 bottles are more than half of what they offer. I think there's 1 or 2 more offerings that they have for Irish whiskey. They do also make gin, and they do also make, if hopefully I pronounce this right, poitin, P-O-I-T-I-N, which is considered the original alcoholic drink that whiskey is based on. And I don't have a bottle of that yet. I should probably grab one. And that's really what they do. But they do it very well. They take a lot of care in selecting the wood that they mature their whiskeys in. It's always oak. When St. Kevin was out there and they built castles to protect the area, they used oak for their doors. And ever since then, oak has been in the forefront of their minds. They pay homage to oak, and they try to especially do that with the oak that they choose to mature their whiskeys in. So, let's talk about these 3, and we'll of course give them a test. Now, the first one, this is their double-barreled Irish whiskey. It is 42% alcohol, so it comes out to 84 proof. Let's see here. Aged first in bourbon barrels, finished in Oloroso sherry casks, or barrels as they say on here. So that's about typical, right? We've seen a lot of different Irish whiskeys that start off in the bourbon barrels and then go to the sherry. Let me see here. I'll read you off the back real quick because it's pretty short. St. Kevin, the man on our bottle, stood apart. This whiskey does the same. It sucked the marrow out of 2 casks, an American bourbon barrel. There we go. Which gives it sweet, toasted vanilla notes. And then your Spanish Oloroso sherry barrel, which adds hints of dark, dried fruit and slight nuttiness. Okay, blue collar palate. I'm not sure if I'm going to pull all that out, but at least I'm telling you what we've got there. And this is non-chill filtered. So let us give this a try. It's single grain. Can't remember if I said that or not, but if I didn't, now I am. Single grain. So you remember you have single grain, single malt, single pot still, and a blend. You've got single grain, you've got single malt, and you've got single malt. So single grain, you don't find a lot of Irish whiskey that's single grain. So it's kind of interesting that we've got that here. But let's give this a try and see what we come up with. Yeah, okay, that's not bad. So right off the bat, it definitely has the single grain type of flavor. I find that single grain, to me anyway, seems to have a little bit more spiciness to it, I think. Has a little bit of ethanol burn, but I think more of it is just the spiciness from being single grain. Again, we've talked about it, single pot still, that's where I go, but this isn't bad. I actually like this. This single grain is really pretty good. So, all right, next up, I called this single malt, and I was obviously wrong. This is single pot still. Excuse me. So this is their single pot still product. This is 43% alcohol, so 86 proof, a little bit stronger. They put right on the label, bottle number 211, out of cask number 4, batch number 1, and tree number 1. So every bottle is numbered. Let me see here. We have first matured American oak ex-bourbon casks. It is then matured in Irish oak casks, made from trees felled in the mountains around the distillery. The bourbon casks soften and sweeten the whiskey. The higher levels of flavor in the Irish oak casks complement and balance the classic pot still spices. So, Glendalough single pot still. Let's see if it can stand up to what I really like in a single pot still whiskey. That's pretty good. Now, what I immediately get out of this that I don't get in some of the other single pot still whiskeys is that oak taste. I definitely can get that oak sort of taste out of this. For me, I almost think I like the single grain better because I find that the oak taste is just a little bit heavier than what I prefer. However, again, 2 fine drops of whiskey. I wouldn't turn either of them down. I might be more inclined to cut this one with a little bit of ice just to take the burn, the spiciness out a little bit. This one I could drink neat all day long if I had to. They're both fine drops of whiskey. I'm not going to lie. If you see either of these, I don't think you could go wrong. Unless you're like me and you don't prefer that oaky kind of taste, then this one, that might not be your palate. Now, let's move on. This is Glendalough's single malt, 7 years old. Not the easiest to find, at least not where I live. It has only been out recently, and there's very few on the shelves. This is batch number 1, so brand new. Now, what's interesting about this particular offering, it's matured in American oak bourbon casks, just like the other 2, but they finish it in Japanese Mizunara oak casks. So they go to the Hokkaido region of Japan and specifically look for that type of oak to mature, or finish, I should say, to finish this whiskey in. Constant quest for the world's best oak. This took us far from our wooded mountains in Wicklow to the ancient oak forests of northern Japan. Excuse me. And exceptional depth to the wonderfully light floral and fruity Irish single malt. So, very new on the market, and they're very proud of it. They like that they have really scoured the world to find some special oak to finish this whiskey in. So let's see exactly how that stacks up. All right. So, and by the way, it's 92 proof. So again, I believe I can get that kind of oaky, woody taste in that. And it does not have the same flavor profile as the single pot still. It shouldn't. It's single malt. I just am not 100% sure that it's really something that agrees with my palate. I think it's very heavy on that oak taste, and mixed with the single malt taste, those are two things that just don't really get into my palate very well. I'm going to say that it is a fine drop of whiskey. It's got some complex flavors to it, and I believe that for someone with a very discerning palate, it would probably be out of this world fantastic with the different flavors that you can pull from it. But I think for me, if I had these 3 bottles and I had to choose one to live with for the rest of my life, I would probably choose the single grain. Simply because it's the closest to what I like. Even though I tell you I like single pot still, and this is single pot still, I think that wood flavor, I think it's just a little overpowering for me. Let me try it one more time. Right? Got to have a reason to drink whiskey, so we got to try it once more. Yeah, it's just a little too much of that oaky flavor for me. If that's a flavor that you like, I am here to tell you folks, these 2 right here, go out and get them. Don't pass go, don't collect $200. You guys go out and get either of these. Because if that's your flavor profile, I'm here to tell you you're gonna love these. For me, it's just not there, so I think the single grain, yeah, even though the single grain is just a little bit spicier than what I typically like, I think that's a pretty good drop of whiskey. And of these 3, I think the single grain is going to take it. So there you go. That's what I have for you this evening. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, go down there and click that thumbs up button. It takes you a split second to do that. If you haven't already subscribed, click on the bell and subscribe. You don't want to miss any of my videos. They come out at least once a week. In fact, I've been doing them almost consecutively once a week. I don't know what we're going to do next week. I think I'm definitely, though, yeah, I think with what's coming in from hard to find whiskey, I think one of those bottles, we're going to have to crack it open next week and put it up against one that's pretty similar, and we'll have to see how it stacks up. You'll just have to be surprised to see what it ends up being. But I guarantee you, if you were here drinking whiskey with me, you'd be sitting there with your glasses waiting to be filled up. Absolutely guarantee it. So don't miss next week's video. Until we meet again, I hope you enjoy your Irish whiskey, because any reason to have a drop of Irish whiskey is a good reason to do so. But remember, do so responsibly so you are here next week. And until then, I want you to be well and be safe. Sláinte. Bye now.